Yes, you are correct. New victims are being created this evening with the murder of Mr. King. And it seems like everybody's walking back over here. Well, Wilbur, if you feel that strongly about it, why aren't you out here?
Been out here when an execution is taking place. We will know when the person has been murdered by Texas when the witness,
just his last meal consists of whatever the inmates here at the prison are eating. They no longer get their choice of last meals.
They must have kicked them out.
They must have kicked him out, you think?
I don't know. I'm going to ask Jeremiah. Huh?
Running with me right now.
Apparently they were asked to leave on the other side, so they've returned to join us. Okay, they're not letting me go towards where the gentleman is talking. And yes, this is in Huntsville.
Everybody here has been pretty peaceful so far.
They're allowing the people who are pro-death penalty to be over on our side, which we are not allowed on their side. They wouldn't even let me go past the tree there, even though there's another past the tree.
To make billions and trillions of dollars in a terrorist home.
You're right, Bianca. No one is above the forgiveness of God.
This is a test donation for $1.
Pay up! Y'all know y'all owe! Y'all know y'all late on that back pay! Pay up! Rob my people! They ain't got my people working for us! Stay woke, brother! Stay woke! Get out! Fuck out of here, yo! Are y'all killing me? No! Ain't no calm down! We got folks here that are protesting a man getting executed who has a black man tattooed on him with a noose around his neck. And they're protesting that he doesn't die. Where was this protest from my people who were slaughtered? Where was it? I didn't see none of y'all. Where was it? Where was that protest for my people?
Sir,
sorry,
So
man.
we can go over there?
We all
So
went over
what's
there.
what's going on? Why is this different?
It's because of the cops. They made us all come back and threaten us.
See, we're here every execution, no matter what. We're here, regardless of what happened,
we all
and we
went.
never are allowed over there.
We all
but
went.
they're keeping us all
Yes,
together.
the cops.
So that's almost
The
a sign that
cops.
they want us to
The
argue.
cops. Matter of fact, I think it's him. The big one in the back, right there. Him right there. That's who doing it. We all went over. And then he started threatening us that if we don't come back, he was about to do something. He threatened us to come back. After this man told me to go over there, and so
And
when I
that-
get over there, he comes and starts using language that was slightly threatening. He said, "I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be polite, but I can."
So we're unsure. They're almost trying to start.
Exactly. We tried to go over there.
Okay. But we're better people than that.
Yeah.
We're not going to start anything.
I just want you to know, we all tried to go.
And I saw that.
He told us to go, and he stopped us. That's what happened. All of us, him, me, him, all of us, all went over. They turned the whole herd around. And then some more
Well,
cops
I'm
started
going.
coming.
I'm live on the prison show.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm
Nice
Danny
to meet
from
you.
the prison show.
Nice to meet you.
And we broadcast live every execution.
Yeah.
And you're live on Facebook right now on the prison show's Facebook.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
Well, and this has never happened where they combine us. They never let us go over there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that they're
trying to get some stuff started.
that's sure what it seems.
You got to be able to see through it.
Yeah, and we can see through it. So
and then they start threatening us that if we didn't come over here, they're going to do something to us. Because we almost refused to come back. And then 4 or 5 of them start walking towards us and say, "Look, we're trying to be nice, but we can do it a different way." What that means? I know what that means. I know exactly what that means. If y'all don't turn around, we going to make you. We going to do something. That's what the man did. So they want to, I'm like, why would they mix the crowd like that? They want some chaos.
They do, but we're not going to do that. We have different opinions, and people in society can have different opinions, and we welcome that.
I can agree to disagree.
Correct. Okay, well this is interesting.
That's live in Houston. Was it live?
Yeah, I'm broadcasting on the prison show's Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He does speak the truth. Clearly, they're mixing the two together, the two different opinions. And years ago, they had made it to where it wasn't like that. The opposition stood with us here, and the in favor stood over there. But clearly, they're not doing that this evening.
They did that on purpose, right? They're trying to get something started.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're trying to get something started.
Yeah. But that's okay.
I'm saying we're out here for every execution, regardless.
Yes, we are. Every execution, we're out here. And the prison show supports everyone in prison. All the way from jails, from the county jails, through general population, through ADSEG, through death row. We support people in prison. And yes, Mr. Byrd does matter. He does matter. We offer our condolences to his family. We support them in any way we can. I'm standing. I ain't going nowhere. I stand here every execution, and I'm going to do it tonight. Even if they put me in the mix of, well, clearly these people are not belligerent in any way, and we welcome all forms of different opinions. We welcome that. If you get belligerent and you start cussing or using any type of violence, no, I will not entertain that. But just like Rashad, that's just immature. Anyone cussing, anyone praising the killing of another human being, that lowers you to the level of the person that committed the murder to begin with. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't got no more money, man.
Actually, Casey, a very close family member of mine was murdered in the 90s, and I never once wished the death penalty for the man who did it. I have been on that side, so you can't come at me with that. I know his death would not have brought me closure in any way, shape, or form. I've also been involved with victims' families, and victims themselves who survived the attack that came out in opposition. We do have our opinions, but getting belligerent, rude, spewing profanity, or wishing violence on another human being, regardless, just brings you to the level of the person who committed the murder to begin with. Don't say y'all not. I've never said that a black person's not a human being. This gentleman right here is a human being, and I'm going to hug him. Well, Lexus, he's being executed right now. So your wish to see another human being die, well, it's taking place. Denisha, it's not I do not, yes, I am a friend of John's. I do know him. I do know his case. I do have my personal opinions, but that's not what we're about here tonight. We're out here covering the protest of the execution of John King. I am anti-racist. Capital punishment are only for people who do not have the capital to hire an attorney. It's racist, it's arbitrary, period. I've been involved with it too many years, and you see it time and time again. People who have money do not get the death penalty. Well, Jesse, I know of two that a form of protest not out here because they were stopped prior to that it did prevent. Now, as far as standing out here, no, but we're letting our opinion known. We're getting the word out. That is the form. That is how we are doing it. We get the word out. At least he's out here. He has an opinion. We have, there's a anti-death penalty activist named Joanne who is in her 90s, who's been to executions for years. And she has to sit down because she's not able to stand up. But she stands for what she believes in. the immaturity of people asking to it's overwhelming, the amount of immaturity on this right now. No, he's sitting because he cannot stand for long periods of time. There's a difference. Yes, rest in peace, Mr. Bird. We are covering the protest of the execution of John King. That is why we're here. Thank you, Angela. That is correct. I've never seen this before either. Well, maybe for Russell Brewer, we had quite a few.
Did you speak up here in Bastrop?
In Bastrop?
Yeah.
No, I did not. No, I did not.
Okay.
I wish I would have. And again, if I see specific comments about people wishing violence on another human being, regardless, I will delete the comment if I see it, because like I said, the feed goes fast. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. I've never been out here when they've allowed this, and it's pretty shocking, even for Russell Brewer's, which was John King's one of John King's fall partners. They did not allow the two sides to mix. So this is very unusual, and it's concerning because at times there could be people who, there could be people who wished violence. In fact, we did get some messages, people wishing violence upon us. Thank you, Melissa. If I see a comment by someone wishing violence on another human being, no, I will not keep that comment on. I will not. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Bianca. And we probably won't see this again. It is very interesting that it's happening this evening, but we probably won't see this again, where they mix the two. It makes you wonder why they're mixing. I have nothing against any race, period. Dawn, I'm trying to stand my ground. I'm going to be right here, though. I'm going to be right here. As we are for every execution, we protest. We cover the protest. You want me to hug somebody on what side? Because I'll hug someone. These people are saying that I'm racist, and I want to prove I'm not. They're saying that I wouldn't hug anyone that's pro-death penalty.
Oh, really?
And I welcome all points of view.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. Because I know we have different points of view.
Yeah.
But we're being professional about it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to show that I am standing with a man who is pro-death penalty.
That's right.
Yeah.
However, he is being professional about it. He's being respectful, and so am I.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's the way adults
that's
should
right.
be.
And that's the way. Yes, that is.
That's the way adults should be.
No, it's two different things.
Yeah. That's the way adults should be.
They've already misinterpreted what your message is.
Yeah.
They have misinterpreted it completely.
See, it's two different points of view. It's if you're
I
against.
feel like if people take time to listen, they'll learn a lot. They're too busy thinking the negative instead of bringing the positive in. If they start thinking more positive, they'll understand what's going on around them in the world.
Thank you, and that's very true. Very true.
Open your mind and start being positive. That's the thing. You gotta be positive. Take away the negative and be positive.
I surround myself every day with
With
positive
positive,
energy.
you have to have positive. Think positive. You go positive everything.
That's how I try to do every day.
And if you bring positive into all this negative, all this is thought. It was thought.
That is the
It's
key.
like a
And
magnet. The magnet is going to suck up all the negative and swallow it up, and it'll be a better place. People must learn how to start thinking positive.
thank
and
you.
outside
Thank you.
the
Give me a.
box.
Thank you.
That is my message. I'm a
Thank
spiritual
you.
person, and I
Thank
speak
you.
to the Lord while I'm speaking to you, and this is the message that I'm supposed to spell out.
And that.
It's for
Thank
all
you.
mankind. People need to stop their madness. It's not
Yes.
about us. At the end of the day, it's about God. It's not about us.
You're right.
It's
It is
not
about.
about us at all. We think it is, but it's not.
No.
It's not about us.
Well, once the execution is over,
Gloria. It's over. It's over.
It's over?
Yeah, it's over. They just walked. They came out of the building and they walked.
Is it over? Or are you not sure?
No. Well, they came out. The guards were escorting them out of the building. The same lady who escorts them.
so what happens
When the plainclothes, but it's over when the plainclothes people come out, right?
And they came out.
They already out?
The news media. Yeah. Mr. King did not have any witnesses.
or to talk to them?
Yeah, there was no witnesses.
Such a high profile.
It was just the news media.
I felt this as I said what I had to say. I have built a sense of peace.
Thank you.
It was on my mind to say it. I had to say it.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
this
you.
is just what
Are you
this
sure that
world
was the
needs.
reporters? Was there 5 of them? I don't see any camera lights coming on.
I don't either. But
I don't think it was.
some of the reporters came out. There were 3 of them that were escorted.
I just want to go.
Yeah, now you hear them? They're
Same here. I just want to go eat me some Italian and just go relax.
I can't drive.
I'm
I
not a
can't drive
drinker, but
home.
that sounds really good.
I can't drive home if I've been having a
I'll drink a glass of wine.
Where are you from?
You're from Why are you here? I have family here, and I just wanted to see what this is all about.
Your family in Huntsville? Oh. Well, normally there's about 10 of us out here. Right, Danny?
yeah. There's not
Sometimes
that
there's
many.
15
But
or
I'm
20.
glad that you understood.
I do understand it, and I welcome every form of every opinion there is.
So when people
That wasn't-
walk out,
it's-
that when it's over?
I don't think that was the witness.
He's turned around here.
I mean in general. Look,
That's them.
is that it?
Yeah, they've got their notebooks.
The 561st execution for the state of Texas has taken place.
And I'm ready to go home. Olive Garden is calling me. What happened? They killed, what's his name, King.
Oh, he just passed?
Yes.
Yeah, the media came out. When they come out, we know that the execution has taken place.
Okay.
So
That's it.
that's it.
That's it. It's done.
Let's hope it does something to end racism in Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if that man has family.
Who? John?
Yeah.
This ends the yeah. Okay. This ends the execution protest of Don King. He has been executed. And remember to share the video. Share it often so people can see what happens.
Well, guys, that looks like that's the end of that. If anything else comes up, I'll start up another stream or something. But that looks like that's pretty much it. Okay, I'll check out the LA link real quick. See what this is.
My SB 1421 paperwork that I,
Alright, here, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, this one will probably suck, but
I was really blown away at how unprepared, how much they really didn't even fight it, because they didn't have nothing to fight. And it was like they literally just rolled out of bed, got the memo, hey, you got to go to court for this 1421 thing. We want you to sit there and try to fight it. All they honestly did was come in there and say, the judge said, why do you want to oppose this for the 1421? All they said was, well, the police have been protected for the last 40 years. And the judge turned around and was like, well, that's not good enough. There's a new law now, and that's the right to know. What else do you got? Come on, what else do you got? For 30 minutes straight, that's all they kept on talking about. The police have the right, to be protected. And the judge kept on saying it. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and come back next week. I'm going to sleep on it, think about it. But I'm going to let you all know right now that I'm most likely not going to change my mind. And I'm going to go ahead and approve this 1421 for this mother, this family. Oh, the baby.
Good news is we all
should bounce back.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to see, their loss was amazing to me, and to be able to hear a judge sit there and say it's not good enough. It's not good enough to the police protected me. And they're going to get a whole lot more of it's not good enough coming from y'all. Because it's not good enough. They ain't doing nothing. Absolutely nothing over there. And over here in this building. And I just want to say that we're the real ones. We're the real ones. They're the fake asses. They're the frauds. And no matter what, they're always going to cover and hide behind that sheet of denial, that veil of, oh no, I'm not a racist. Oh no, I never met any bad cops. No, you are a bad cop. If you're not going to sit there and say you honestly have met one. If you're not going to sit there and honestly say, oh yeah, I know there's racism in the police department, then you're racist yourself. And so, I just can't wait to see these bastards go down. I can't wait to see the law enforcement have to step up their game to make sure that they don't get held accountable, because they aren't going to be taking any lives to be held accountable for. Right. Because when they do, they're going to be held accountable now. And so I'm really looking forward to this bill getting passed. And we got to keep pushing it. We got to keep talking about it. We got to talk to people on the streets about it. You know, just random conversations. Talk about it. Let people know what's going on at the state capitol. Let people know what's going on in this building right here. Let people know what's going on in the police department, the sheriff's department. Because a lot of people are so naive, and the people need to know. And so I appreciate y'all, and I think I'll go ahead and thank you, everyone. And I just want to thank everybody that came and joined us all on the bus too. Mateo, who else was here? Eugene, Zach, Amari, Zach, Jeremy, Adam, like so many of us. And it's a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing. And I really love being surrounded by all you beautiful people. Like I said, this is what heaven looks like to me. Come on. And I just, I'm just so proud of all of us, and I'm so honored to be in this fight. It's a fight that I wish I wasn't in, but it's an honor to be surrounded by people that are fighters just like me, and that are people that just ain't gonna take no bullshit anymore. So I'm just really glad to know that I got riders that ride right with me. Y'all are my ride or dies, man. And yeah, let's get this bill passed and let's start coming up with more and more bills.
I say.
That's right.
Look here. Y'all remember when Valerie used to come out here and how quiet she was? My.
I don't know that Valerie.
She has become a clear warrior.
Ashe.
She has become not only a warrior, but a warrior chief.
Yeah. Go ahead, Val.
She speaks up now. Every time she gets a chance to whoever will listen to her about her son, but more importantly about injustice. And I've watched Valerie grow and blossom, and her voice get bigger and louder and deeper. And I'm glad to stand with her.
That's right.
Miss Lisa Hines is joining us.
All right, Miss Lisa.
Say her name.
Waukesha Wilson.
Say her name.
Waukesha Wilson.
Say her name.
Waukesha Wilson.
And Lisa has some information she wants to share with us.
All right.
Tell it.
I'm happy to be back.
Yes.
This is some information that it's something you guys have read about. But
Can't hear her.
it's been a year since I found out this information. I want to start with this.
Hold on one second.
Rihanna Braden, the officer that was fired due to Waukesha Wilson's death.
One second. Just hold on. You can hug me until.
Okay.
You can hug me and love me until they get that shit right.
Okay.
Okay, it does work. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So try it again. All right, now.
Okay, this is one of the reasons why Jackie Lacey needs to start prosecuting killer cops. The detention officer, Rihanna Braden, was discharged late last year on allegations she failed to render immediate medical aid when Wilson was found unresponsive at the LAPD's jail in downtown Los Angeles. According to Police Internal Affairs and LA City personnel documents obtained by NBC4, the LAPD's investigation also led to an accusation that Brandon had improperly isolated. Get me?
That's right.
Isolated.
I do that too.
Love you, Lisa.
We can read it for you.
She had isolated my baby in an upstairs individual cell on the day of her death, her murder, in violation of jail policies. That was a violation in itself. Why did she do that? That allegation was dismissed by the city during the termination proceedings through the LAPD sought to reinstate it.
That's right.
Come on now. What kind of shit is that? It was a violation.
They brought it back.
The Internal Affairs file also revealed that Bradley had been suspended for doing this numerous times before. So why in the fuck is she still there?
That's right. That's right.
Why was she there in the first place?
That's right.
So I say, Jackie Lacey, you need to start prosecuting killer cops or get your ass up out that office. Because they killed my baby, they murdered my baby. Brianna Brandon, she killed my baby, she murdered my baby, she broke my baby's neck, she violated my baby. She violated my baby. And you don't see nothing wrong with that. Her getting fired is not justice.
That's right. That's right.
Prosecution is justice.
That's right.
No justice,
no peace.
Prosecute killer cops. Jackie Lacey, you got to go.
That's right.
I will never shut up. I will never go away. You might not see me for a week or two here and there, but I will be back. I will be back. I will never stop calling for your resignation for the firing of you, Jackie Lacey. If you don't do your damn job, and I mean start today, get them records and them files together and start prosecuting these badass cops.
Take them files home if you got them.
That's right.
That's right.
Will help.
Find them dead and pull out a file and start looking over them.
Remember we said
How
that?
the hell you not prosecute her when she took my baby to an isolated cell for what?
Right.
That's where she murdered her. That's where them 22 minutes come in there.
That's right, those missing minutes.
Yeah. Talk about that. Give me a reason, probable cause for those 22 minutes coming up missing.
Right.
How could that happen? Because your dirty cops, they erased it.
Yep.
They did it. Everybody in that jail that day, they helped Brianna. They helped Brianna. That's what they did. Y'all all one big family. And I ain't mad y'all have each other's back. But guess what? These people out here, they got my back.
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
got they back. We're not going nowhere. We're not going to never shut up.
That's right.
When you think we're not there, boom, we in your
That's
face.
right.
Right there. So do the right thing, Jackie Lacey. Do the right thing.
Go.
Say her name.
Waukesha Wilson.
Say her name.
Waukesha Wilson.
Say her name.
Waukesha Wilson. Ashe. It's fine.
A simple thing, very simple. She could investigate that case. There are enough questionable discrepancies that she should investigate that case.
Yeah.
It needs to be investigated.
That's her job.
Exactly.
That's her damn job.
She should be pissed off and say, where are those 22 minutes?
Unacceptable.
Yeah, unacceptable.
And we can find out that information.
Right.
Just like you found out that information about John, she should be able to find that out and do something about it.
She got it.
She got it.
And they might 9 out of 10, they got the other part of that video.
They know.
They just not gonna release it.
It's in a secret vault.
That's right.
She got it. They 9 out of 10, they got
It's in the files of hell. She know.
Officers talked to her,
And what
but
can
apparently
we do?
there was.
Well, she's been fired, so now she needs to be prosecuted. That's right.
She's a.
Hey, to heck with this. Heck with all them didn't do whatnots. Let's watch a chase, man. It's got stew and everything.
In a turn, it looks like we're going to be going northbound now, and it looks like we are on Randolph Street, continuing on as this slow speed pursuit is still keeping officers at bay, but that driver running those red lights and basically sometimes was on the wrong side of the road. So definitely some dangerous maneuvers out there as the pursuit continues. 2 people in that car, we do know that, a male and a female.
Yeah, and you know, the officers really can't do much about what the caller saw because in any kind of a misdemeanor case, they have to witness it, so they can only use that as reasonable suspicion to come and want to chat with them. And so, Stu, you're right about the failure to yield unless this guy decides to hit somebody. And
I hope that's not how this ends. We don't want to see anybody hurt, not even the people inside that vehicle running from the law enforcement. Right now, it looks like we are back on Alameda Street. Sorry about that. Making a sharp turn there, kind of caught my pilot Fulvio off guard. So we're definitely back on Alameda. There's no doubt about it. You can see the Alameda corridor right there in the shot. Working our way, got to look out the window southbound right now, but they're coming up on a red light, and you can see the other vehicles driving through there, and the officer having to slow. That seems to be the deal. Speeds are pretty slow on this pursuit, and we're going to turn on the map and pull up that speedometer so the folks at home can keep an eye on the speeds as well and also follow along on these streets. But right now it definitely appears to be southbound Alameda, now on the wrong side of the road.
Wow. All right. Well, that's going to present a difficult situation there. I was looking at the traffic, Stu, and then people seem to be, minding their own driving relatively well, considering they've got so many police cars following this vehicle that's now on the wrong side of the road.
Definitely on the wrong side of the road, passing a lot of vehicles right there. This is the first time we've seen him make a turn into a, I was going to say residential, but it definitely looks like made a little bit of a mistake there. We got a cul-de-sac there at the end. See if he see how they handle it. I'm not sure how Southgate PD handles these type of situations, but it does appear they don't want to block that vehicle in. A lot of vehicles making U-turns, and you can see the number of officers there behind this vehicle this afternoon, getting back onto southbound Alameda. A lot of traffic this afternoon. Guy on a bike there or a skateboard going through the shot. We haven't seen them try to do a pit maneuver. We haven't heard them talk about the pit maneuver. Maybe that's not policy for that agency. These slower speeds, you'd think they'd be able to do something like that, but right now they're getting close, but it doesn't seem like they're planning on making any contact with that vehicle.
I wonder if they're thinking about that passenger in the vehicle that might make a decision. I don't know. I'm just guessing out loud if that would make a decision as to why they would not want to do a pit maneuver if they didn't have to.
Yeah, and they could right, Pat, they could be making the presumption that the passenger is innocent, hasn't done anything wrong. Mm-hmm. Passenger's not driving, not evading police.
Well, just, in terms of injury.
Yeah,
I certainly don't want to see anything like that. But if there's a good thing in this situation, it's that it's traveling at a relatively low speed.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion.
Until he goes on the wrong side of the road. But now he's going to make a left, Stu.
Yeah, made a hard left there getting into a neighborhood. They do know where this car is registered to, and this is not a stolen vehicle as we understand it, so we believe that the registered owner for that car is the actual driver. They did say that the owner of this vehicle has an address on 110th Street, I believe in the South Los Angeles area. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where we are. We're actually in the 70s right here.
Oh, dead end.
74th Street. Looks like a... really kind of put himself in a spot there. I'm going to get a little bit wider, not worried about any kind of altercation, just kind of seeing where he is and why he made that stop. We are next to a park. If he makes a turn and maybe tries to get away, he can. Oh no, there's a lot of dirt right there. That's what's holding him up. So it definitely looks like he put himself in a spot right now, and maybe, yeah, we are going to be driving through the park. I hope there are no people out there in the grass, or this person is moving slow enough that we can see it, but definitely making his way through this park area. Well, excuse me. There we go. Just kind of driving along on the paths out there.
And now on a sidewalk.
On dirt. Now on a sidewalk. So he's making his way through this area. You can see, there we go.
Through a fence.
We've seen him try to go through some fences in the past. Oh, man, there's a guy on a bicycle. Was it just the bicycle?
I think it was just the bike.
I thought I saw someone run away.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought I saw someone run away.
Yeah, I saw somebody too.
Well, now,
but
Stu,
definitely going through a park out here. They got a lot of pedestrians out here. Don't want to see anybody get hurt. But this continuing on, looks like he's making his way back onto a road that's going to be Graham. And we're going to be in the Florence part of Los Angeles right now.
I wonder if that was Franklin Roosevelt Park. I'm trying to find a park off of Florence where he could have been.
Well, now he's really racking up charges that didn't exist before. Certainly the moves that he made, driving through that park like that, and that was certainly endangering other people. We saw that young man run away, but his bicycle is certainly damaged, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, thank goodness nobody was hurt, but that fence, it definitely seemed to be some sort of temporary fence, and it moved very quickly when he tried to get through it. In the past, we've seen him try to go through fences, and it doesn't work. It's not like in television, but that seemed to be a temporary fence, so it did move out of the way very, very quickly, and hopefully that person was not injured. I didn't see any contact, but that bicycle definitely was leaning up against the fence, and like you said, it could have been a lot worse. Thank goodness nobody was hurt with that maneuver. But it does show you that this driver continuing to act desperately, trying to stay away from the law enforcement. The law enforcement still right there behind him. I was trying to get a little bit of a wider shot. I was wondering if they were going to follow along through that park that they're working on there, but it definitely looks like whatever they did, they are right back behind it. The helicopter, that's going to be the sheriff's department. They're giving out the calls right now where he is, where he's going, but we're going to be eastbound on Florence Avenue. And now, as soon as I said it, we're making a southbound turn onto Santa Fe.
And we showed you on the right, where it says earlier, that was the only time we saw a door open. The passenger opened the door, but then she briefly shut the door, or she quickly shut the door.
But it has, according to Stu, it did happen before.
Right, yeah, that's true.
We just didn't see it,
yeah.
But it did happen before. Well, I got to say this, Jeff and Stu, I mean, we know who this vehicle is registered to. If it's his vehicle, he doesn't seem to be worried about
what he does to it.
Damage. Yeah, if he's trying to going through fences.
There it is right there on the right.
Well,
how he went through that fence. So we know his intentions now are a little bit more dire than they were in the beginning. He was going slow. He was staying within the speed limit. Then he starts going into oncoming traffic. Then he decides to go four-wheeling through a park. Could have hit a bicyclist. Took out a fence. He's a little more desperate than he was.
What was that, Stu? You just saw something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just saw something go through the picture quickly. It was actually the helicopter. I'm sorry about that. Kind of caught me off guard. His speed is picking up just a little bit. It's coming up as Broadway right now, and still kind of keeping the officers at bay. You can see them right behind him. Maybe not the same amount of numbers, but another solid red light out there. At least he's slowing down, and look at that. All the traffic kind of just vaporized right as they got there, but there was a number of cars going through that intersection. Continuing on right now, it's going to be on Broadway is the name of the street, but and we just crossed Pacific. That was a cross right there. The vehicle doesn't seem to be any worse for wear. A little bit of damage to that bumper as he pushed his way through that temporary fence. Looks like we're making another turn to the south. We're going to be in the city of Walnut Park. So we are going to be very east of South LA areas and into these smaller towns. But the officers from Southgate are right behind them. And just as I said that, I was just going to say, aren't we getting back into the Southgate? We are now back into the Southgate area. So this might be around the area where it started.
Okay, so now it seems that he is making, he's driving familiar territory, Stu, a familiar route.
Well, he didn't seem to know where he was going last time.
Well, definitely not.
No.
There we go, making a little decision there. Looked like he wanted to make a right, but choosing the left, and now that's going to be Long Beach Boulevard. And this is one of those streets that we know, even down over here, it is very busy. There's always a lot of cars out here, even on the weekends. Can't imagine what it's like right now. It's light traffic. That's what the helicopter is saying right now. And it seems like for the southbound lanes, it's kind of wide open. But I can tell you, every time we come up to a it's definitely going to back up. Still slower speeds, using that centered up, making another turn into a residential neighborhood. Trying to see if we're getting close to where this person lives, but we are not. So the pursuit continuing now in a residential neighborhood, and Southgate PD in Southgate now once again, still following this domestic violence suspect, and the pursuit continues.
I guess the other good thing here is that he hasn't tried to get on a freeway, which. You know, as I mentioned, he seems to be staying on surface streets. When Stu mentioned he left the Southgate area, he's back in the Southgate area. So I would say in a general area of South Los Angeles, and if he really wanted to go further,
this is a test donation for
$1. Oh yeah, without a doubt. He's
freeway.
Paralleling the tracks right now, so he's probably on Independence, I would imagine, or Ardmore.
Ardmore.
Yeah, it's Ardmore. So, and is he going east or west on Ardmore? Probably east.
I'm all turned around. You just saw that big turn. Let me look out the window.
Yeah,
we are going eastbound.
Tracks are to his
on
left.
Ardmore. Yeah. So, and he's continuing on. You can see other vehicles out there, wrong side of the road, once again, coming up to another major right there.
He's coming up on Southgate High School. I can tell you that. And, you know, a lot of kids have sports activities afterwards. And there it is right there.
Yeah.
And there's kids out there on the field, looks like.
So you just worry about kids coming home. And
well, we saw him drive through a park. We saw him just go through a park earlier today.
Got her foot back up on the dash. You know, Pat, that's not the body language of a person who's worried.
Well, you almost think
upset.
they look like they're joyriding or just waiting for this thing to be over.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't know.
No.
Because as Stu mentioned in the beginning, this person was wanted for assault.
Or a caller says
a caller said he was wanted.
Yeah,
for
they saw something that they didn't like, so they called the cops. But yes, this person looks awfully relaxed.
Kind of comfortable.
Yeah, for being abducted, which doesn't appear she is. All right.
Well, I was going to say, they never said the word abducted.
No,
it's not actually, I don't think it's a kidnapping, but they definitely some sort of domestic violence. And the way it was worded to me was it actually happened inside the vehicle. So not sure if it was in traffic. Maybe somebody saw something and decided to call the police. Going to be doing, I believe we're on Otis right there, and another one of those wide turns. I hope everybody at home is okay with that. It continues on, though, wrong sides of the road a lot. Every time he comes up to those intersections, even if he's moving slow, that doesn't mean the other person will be moving slow as well. A lot of folks are out there, you see a green light, you just kind of assume, as you should, that it's going to be wide open. But in some cases, there might be somebody running that light. And you can see right now, we just made a southbound turn, we made a turn onto Firestone. I know Firestone is not a north-south, so we'll get a direction here in just a moment.
Going
but
east
you
on
can
Firestone.
see the PD still right behind them, a little bit of traffic, people doing what they're supposed to do when they hear those lights and sirens. And you can see them moving out of the way.
Well, that's
what they're supposed to do, but it's actually creating a path right now for that suspect to continue on.
Well, it's going to be dinner time, and he's going right by an In-N-Out Burger and TGI Fridays. It's a big, busy intersection there as he's coming up on Firestone and Atlantic.
So we're contemplating what he might be
wanting
to do for dinner.
Well, it's also just more traffic that he has to contend with. That's a very busy intersection there that he's coming up on.
You wonder, there's a shopping area nearby that he could possibly pull in. I mean,
we saw that happen a week or two ago, didn't we?
Yes. Do you remember that pursuit we happened to be? Was that in Pasadena when they pulled into a garage of a shopping
center? Wasn't far
center?
away from there, yeah.
Definitely. And it seems to be one of those ones that suspects seem to think it's a way to get away, but even those suspects were the ones, they were all taken into custody in the end. So even if they do pull into into some sort of parking garage, that's the thing also is it's slower speeds, thank goodness for that, and Southgate PD right there behind them. So for this person to try to give that officers, the slip, it would be extremely difficult, even if they pulled into a parking structure or something that was covered up or underneath a overpass. The officers from Southgate PD right behind them, and continuing on, we're still in Southgate, and we're approaching Firestone right now. And we're on Firestone, and we're approaching Rayo Street. So in a lot of traffic. I just heard him talk about that. He's going to be blocked in. And we'll see. Looks like he always seems to just have that lucky move right there. Light probably just turned green, and that person made that turn to get out of the way, and it's continuing on.
Going to cross over the LA River
area.
You wonder if this also makes a difference, not just because of the speed, but we were talking about a pit maneuver earlier. Mm-hmm. I mean, the person doesn't appear to be wanted for endangerment to other people. And we're not exactly sure from looking at these photographs about what's going on inside that vehicle.
Right.
So
and
maybe they will reconsider.
Pat, you were saying at least he's not on a freeway. I think he just made that decision. Because that's the 710 right there.
Well, then he's going to
definitely
ride.
Entering the 710 there. Don't know if he's going to keep those same speeds, those slower speeds. It definitely looks like he's trying to join traffic at least. Southbound on the 710, so we're going to be heading out of Southgate into Long Beach if he stays on the freeway long enough. Maybe he'll just get off the freeway right there. That female passenger, like you said, definitely along for the ride. I would say that right now, but higher speeds for sure. And it look, this is the thing too. The other vehicles out there are in a lot of traffic. This vehicle moving about 65, just pushing the 70 mark, but there's a lot of traffic out there. So speeds of the other cars a little bit slower this evening. Just keeping an eye on Southgate PD. They are behind them, but it definitely seems to be opening up for that southbound traffic out here on the 710 as we continue this pursuit. Domestic violence, that's probably the best way to word it. The female passenger still inside the car. We did see the door open a couple of times, but right now, definitely that passenger along for the ride, hugging that emergency lane and that center divider, seeing if hopefully there's no other cars coming up. I would hate to see that person try to pass in that situation. There's the sheriff's helicopter in the shot. Not sure who that is today in sheriff's helicopter, but definitely they're the ones that are making the calls for the ground units and keeping everybody up to date where this vehicle is and how fast it's going.
And Stu, if he stays on the freeway time, it's likely the CHP is going to get involved.
The policies on that too. They are going to have to relinquish the pursuit to the California Highway Patrol. One of the officers just doesn't happen to see it and just randomly get involved. Southgate PD has got to make that official. Okay, we're handing it off or we're giving it to. But we haven't seen that with them this afternoon. Southgate has been behind this vehicle through many different jurisdictions and has not handed it off at all. So we'll see what happens here on the freeways, but definitely heading southbound on the 710. And yes, he's got a couple of options, but in the end, everybody knows 710 is going to run out as we get down to the ocean in the Long Beach area.
And he's still, I don't know if you consider that reckless driving right now on the freeway.
Yes.
So that also might make a difference in terms of the CHP getting involved. And we're still not exactly sure. The close-ups that we've seen with that passenger in the car, she looks pretty relaxed, has her foot up on the dash and one arm just kind of resting as it is now.
She did. Oh, by the way, they didn't take the 105. That looked like the 105 they just crossed.
And that was the 105 right there. Linwood is the city for the people following along at home. Actually, just so typical. Just as I said it, we're actually in Paramount right now. Southbound on the 710, Alondra Boulevard. Just getting into the shot right there. That's not Alondra Boulevard. That's going to be the sheriff's helicopter. But that's going to be the next off ramp. Now we're starting to see a little bit more desperate moves using the emergency lane right there. A little bit of backup, but it does seem to be just a little pack of slower vehicles, but this guy using the emergency lane, that could be a plus for the for the officers. A lot of debris out there. Maybe he'll get a flat tire on his own. But you can see the speeds moving along, and you can just imagine what anybody that's driving today, not knowing what's going on, and then all of a sudden have somebody passing you in the emergency lane, probably catching a couple of these drivers off guard. The Southgate PD, they are still right behind him right there. You can see the number of officers. Looks like we're getting over. So maybe getting off the freeway, or maybe he's looking for an opportunity. Whoa, there you go. That was a little bit of a sharp turn.
Yes, it was.
Definitely getting over to the right. So we're in Compton, and maybe Alondra is going to be the next off-ramp here.
Well, Stu, you talked about knowing where
the off-ramp.
Okay, he is taking the he is taking the off-ramp. You mentioned they know where he lives. You know where this is too.
Yeah, they gave it as a numbered street of 110th earlier on, so that was the reason why I was kind of keeping an eye on the streets. But looks like we just for a quick moment there we're on Alondra, and looks like we're getting back onto the 710, same direction. Just trying to do, it looks like they're doing whatever they can to keep the officers at bay. We're going to have to move Sky 2 over to the, because we can't see him because of the sound wall. But the pursuit continuing out here, southbound 710 again. And everybody knows that we're going to start running out of freeway here shortly. So we're going to be in the Long Beach area. If he doesn't get off the freeway, we have another freeway option coming up. But right now, looks like, and here we are, we're taking the 91. Looks like we're going to be on the 91. So no Long Beach for right now.
And he has a choice, obviously, which direction he wants to go here.
Not eastbound.
Eastbound 91.
All right.
And it's still Southgate PD right behind him.
Right behind him, right there. This moment we actually can probably get a good look at the driver. Not that it makes any difference, but this is probably one of the first times that we're getting back onto the other side since the beginning of the pursuit. You can see a little damage to that car as well. He's keeping up those speeds, though. I can tell you that. And we're definitely in the Long Beach area, 91 freeway. We're going to be eastbound, and I'm looking out the window, and just your average traffic, it is moving, but it is kind of dense and packed, meaning a number of vehicles out there. But they're probably hearing those sirens from the Southgate PD. We haven't seen anybody try to move over. But right now they are in the far right lane. A lot of options, a lot of off-ramps, but right now just continuing on as we're in the Long Beach area and just moving along at just a little faster than the flow of traffic.
This almost looks like a scenario where they could continue until they run out of gas. And we don't know if they started on a full tank or what. But
or until they resolve their conflict, because they sure seem to be talking as they're driving.
Yeah, but not
and,
in
I hear you. Oh, no, I was just going to say, I heard you guys talking about fuel in the car. Sky 2's been a busy little helicopter this afternoon. We were up flying for quite a long time before we got this pursuit, and I'm just letting everybody know, meaning the producers, our assignment desk, and et cetera. We've got about 10 minutes of follow-along time because we're going to be needing fuel here shortly as well.
All right. Well, Stu, I'm just going to say I hope it's resolved before that happens.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'm sure people on the freeway are saying the same thing.
It looked like he was going to use the off-ramp right there, but it did not, just kind of staying there in the emergency lane. I'm always kind of curious how the officers handle that. It does look like they are just basically following along when that driver's using the emergency lanes. The Southgate PD just gets right there behind him. Maybe not the same speeds, and of course they are equipped with lights and sirens, and those drivers are probably trained for high-speed driving, so huge plus for the law enforcement, maybe not so much for that driver. This continues and just keeps kind of going, using the Gore point right there as we're getting off of passing another off-ramp, which I think is going to be Paramount Boulevard. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was Paramount as we're continuing eastbound here on the 91 freeway. This chase continues. Domestic violence, you got a male driver, female passenger, and speed's picking up as he's trying to weave in and out of some, let's just say, normal traffic out here for the 91 freeway in the Long Beach area.
All right, he's hugging the right. Well, I thought he was going to take that off-ramp, but...
Yeah, he does seem to kind of be fading on all those off-ramps. If y'all are just joining us, we've been following this pursuit for about a half hour now. Started in Southgate. That's why Southgate PD is following this car. Somebody called Southgate PD and said, "Hey, I see these two people in a car and they're really having an argument, and it looks like it could get violent." And so the officers responded, and the driver
looks like he's. Well, again, I started to say it looks like he's going to take an off ramp, but we've seen him change his mind. Probably. Oh, there he is.
Yep, he did.
Okay.
And not a good choice at all. Very, very packed up here. I don't like to see them try to squeeze through there.
Lakewood?
The lights and sirens for the officers' vehicles is basically clearing. The light might have changed as well, but you can see these cars trying to get out of the way. A little bit of gridlock out there, and maybe trying to push their way through a red light. Making a turn right here. We're going to be in the Bellflower area, as everybody can see. And just made a turn there. It looks like we're going to be going under the freeway, so it looks like we're going to be going northbound. It's bad choices all around. More traffic right there. Going to see if he pops out. There he is. But maybe back onto the freeway, or no. Looks like we're going to be staying on the streets out here. And we're going to be on Lakewood Boulevard. Again, you just kind of wondered if this guy has a destination or some sort of plan, or if he's just basically just taking any off-ramp or just making these decisions haphazardly.
Until he knows that he's going to be taken into custody. As Jeff was telling our viewers, this has been going on for probably a half hour now, at least. Yeah. And we talked about a possible domestic violent situation with a passenger in the car, someone seeing a so-called altercation, the police getting involved, Southgate police getting involved. We saw this blue Honda Accord actually drive through a park and run through a fence, narrowly, almost hitting a bicyclist who narrowly, I'm going to say, escaped by running off, but the bicycle was certainly damaged. And as Stu pointed out, we see some damage on this vehicle, possibly from going through that fence. We're not sure. I think you said he made an attempt before, Stu.
I haven't seen him hit anything before that, and it looks like you've got some damage there on the front. I'm sure, even though that fence was a temporary fence, it's definitely has some weight to it, and probably did create some damage, but not enough to bring the vehicle to a stop. You can see that driver. Very engaged in conversation. Let's just leave it at that. And maybe should be looking out towards what's going on in front of him, and maybe not so much trying to make eye contact during the conversation with the passenger. Speeds, it's still faster than we've seen, that's for sure. Definitely not 25. We're about 45, almost 50 at some point. Coming up on another very busy intersection, but green light again. And using the shoulder right there, but making his way back into traffic. Now we have at least we have a solid center divider with some trees in it. So hopefully he won't try to jump the center divider there. But this is continuing on. We're going to be in the Bellflower area on Lakewood Boulevard, and looks like we are heading. I'm just looking out the window again, northbound as this continues on.
Oh, it's northbound.
And this has been the same lead vehicle, the same primary vehicles, too? Since we've been on this?
That I can't tell you. Okay. That I can't tell you. I would assume it is. It's definitely Southgate. There's no doubt about that. I should have grabbed that number, that unit number right there, the 141, when we started. But still kind of doing that same type of business. First time we've seen a turn, and it looks like we're going to be on Rosecrans Boulevard. So Rosecrans, but we're still in the Bellflower area. And this pick right now looks to be a little bit wider. Sorry if I keep zooming in and zooming out. I just want to see what the traffic looks like out front, but it definitely much less traffic on this one. Southgate PD still the ones behind them, and the helicopter going to be the sheriff's ship still up above, making the calls, keeping the units on the ground, and other law enforcement, because out here in Bellflower, I believe they have the sheriff's department, so whoops, that was a close one. So they are basically telling the other law enforcement in the area what's going on, just in case this comes to an end. I'm sure that the local law enforcement will definitely show up at that termination of this chase.
Obviously a main thoroughfare. Those are houses or residences on either side, but pretty wide boulevard there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of room to move around. You said he's on Rosecrans, so he'd be heading into Norwalk?
He is Rosecrans, and we're still in Bellflower, and I'm looking out the window. I don't see the Lakewood mall anywhere nearby, so I'm just trying to get my bearings. Sorry about that. I've been so focused on just the camera. Crossing Bellflower, that was Bellflower Boulevard right there. So it's continuing on, and he is speeding up. There's no doubt about that. I just heard he's going about 60, and I agree with that. He's going about 60 miles an hour right now, or was. He's slowing down a little bit.
Yes, Stu, as he comes up on the 605 here, he has the option of getting back on the freeway.
Yep, definitely the 605 definitely coming up, and it's moving up close. We got some cars in the center divider. Now on the wrong side of the road again. Just going a little bit wider just to see what traffic looks like up ahead. It looks like the light just turned green for the arrow for the left turns, and kind of pushing his way through. And continuing on, we're getting closer and closer to that 605, that's for sure. And also, sadly to say, we'll always be safe. Don't ever think that, but also concerned about our own fuel as well.
Yeah, we know. We know you've been very busy today, Stu. In fact, you've been busy for the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. But today we'll mention it because we know you will have to be departing to get more fuel very shortly. So while we have you for now, if we could get a location, they're in Bellflower.
We're in Bellflower. We're on Rosecrans. We're approaching the 605. I'm just kind of wondering what was going on there. It looked like there was some activity with the driver once again. It's got some trees in the way, of course, and then still weaving in and out. We haven't hit the 605 yet, but we are getting a little bit closer. It's just about to go under the freeway, but definitely a little bit more agitated, the driver right now. And that's going to be the 605. We'll see if he decides to get on the freeway on the other side. Looks like he was just kind of blocked in right there. I was kind of hoping maybe this thing was coming to an end.
Well, look at that.
There we go. It was a 605. It was just another vehicle that was in the way. And so we're continuing on. It looks like we're eastbound on Rosecrans, and still making our way underneath the 605.
Okay, looks
and
like
we're
more
in
traffic.
Norwalk now.
Looks like he's heading into more traffic.
And as we're at the top of the hour,
it does seem like it's.
As we're at the top of the hour, I just want to say you're watching KCBS TV, CBS 2 News now at 6, continuing coverage of a pursuit that's been going on for upwards of 45 minutes.
All right, Stu, we were saying, looks like he was getting into a little bit more traffic. It's the 6 p.m. hour, still rush hour, and we're still watching him make these gestures or whatever he's doing behind the wheel, which is dangerous in itself.
Well, they're just
definitely
flat out
involved
arguing.
in some kind of lively conversation, that's for sure. Every time he kind of looks away, though, the speed's not so fast. So, but it doesn't make it any better. This person obviously very agitated behind the wheel of this car, running from officers, obviously in some sort of discussion with the passenger, the female passenger. So it makes for a little bit more of a tense situation, especially when he comes up to intersections and you kind of look inside and you see his head looking the other way, talking to the passenger. Just getting a little bit wider as we're making our way to through some other major intersections out here. Definitely still in the Norwalk area, but this pursuit continues. And Southgate PD, they've been behind it. They haven't made any efforts to pull it over, but my pilot Fulvio sadly kind of giving me the nod that we're going to have to pull off.
All right. Well, Stu Mundell and Fabio, we want to thank you so much for your work this afternoon and following this, I don't want to say high speed, but this pursuit that's happening in Norwalk right now. We will show you how it ended coming up on the CBS 2 News at 11. But right now we're going to let Stu go get some more fuel and make it safely back to where he needs to go. So thank you, Stu.
All right, we continue on, and welcome to the CBS 2 News at 6. A member of the murderous Manson family.
All right, you guys, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll
Well, let me see if I can rustle up something else. Give me a minute here. I'm not seeing a whole lot else. Stu run out of gas. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it here. If something else kicks off, then I'll start something up and see what happens. But until then, guys, stay safe and all that mess. Hopefully something else will happen. Remember, Friday, 9 o'clock, live PD, and it'll be on for 11 days, but I think I can only stream about 3 of them, since those will actually be live, but we'll see how it happens. So, take it easy, guys. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.